Hello everyone. Let's talk about AWS S3. So S3 is like your Google Drive. So what kind of a thing you can do into the Google Drive? You can upload the file, you can share the file with your friends, right? Okay. But you can think about like S3 is a big brother of the Google Drive, which has a lot more capabilities that you can do in your respective Google Drive. In the S3, you can enable up the versioning. You can put up an object lock that the file would not be deleted up in place for a certain period of time. Okay. Then you can put up, you can segregate the data as well, right? And you can put up different kind of policies in place that only the authorized people would be able to access it up. And you can enable encryption as well. Okay. You can create your own keys and encrypt your respective data. Not even the AWS would be able to access it up in place. But that's not the capability that you're not able to see into the Google Drive. And that is the reason S3 is the most used platform into the AWS to store up the data in the enterprise environment, because it's secure, reliable, and scalable. So how do you actually store up the data into the S3? Can you do it directly like you do in the Google Drive? No, it's not. So in the S3, if you want to store up any kind of a data, any file or a folder, the first thing that you need to do is that you need to create something which is called the bucket. So bucket is the first thing that you create into an S3, right? And bucket is the one after the creation of a respective bucket in a respective region, right? Buckets are created in a region. Once the bucket has been created in a region, then you're uploading up the data into it, like the file or a folders, which are called the objects. So the bucket in itself holds the objects, and buckets are created in a respective region. And one interesting thing with the bucket is that when you are naming up a respective bucket should be unique, right? So across the AWS infrastructure, two buckets cannot have the same name. It doesn't matter if those two buckets are in your account or any other person in United States having that bucket with the another name. That's not the case. Okay. Two buckets in the entire AWS ecosystem cannot have the same name. So the bucket name should be unique in place, right? And by default, the AWS encrypts with its own key. But if you want, you can, using up the service which is called the KMS, you can create your own keys, and using those particular keys, you can encrypt as respective data. And only the key users, the individual who can use the keys for the decryption and the encryption, would be able to access the data in place. So this is what we have into the S3.